rumors buzzed around the Hawthorne University like an insatiable swarm of bees. Unnamed invitations had been disseminated amongst a select group of students. They were black, rimmed with silver, and held an air of sophistication that was as alluring as it was mysterious. Among the chosen were 5 disparate friends. Sarah, a petite woman with glasses perched on her nose and charcoal-stained fingers from her hours spent in the art studio. Charlie, the strapping star football player with an easy laugh and a heart as big as his biceps. Naomi, a no-nonsense brunette who ran the student council with an iron fist and an ambitious spirit. Ethan, a quiet, quirky guy who was always lost in his laptop and had a knack for solving problems. Lastly, Jake, a newcomer who transferred from an out-of-state school. He had deep-set eyes that held a world of secrets and an aloofness that only added to his allure. Charlie, who'd been the first to receive his invitation, read it aloud to his friends during their lunch break. Dare to witness the extraordinary at Old Creek Manor. Leave your fears behind. This Saturday, under the cover of darkness. Saturday evening rolled around, and a deep-seated excitement had nestled itself in the pit of their stomachs. They set off in Charlie's beat-up van, the winding road lit only by the car's feeble headlights and the eerie glow of the overcast moon. The manor itself stood tall at the end of a meandering driveway, hidden behind the sprawling shadows of the ancient trees. The gargoyles that sat atop the manor looked like monstrous watchers, casting grotesque shadows under the dimly lit sky. They were greeted at the large double doors by a man named Bernard, who introduced himself as the caretaker. Each of them was handed a silver key, corresponding to a room within the manor. Bernard instructed them to prepare for the night and meet in the Grand Hall for the beginning of the night's festivities. The Grand Hall was brimming with other guests, all eager to meet the anonymous host. A lavish banquet was laid out, and music played on a vintage gramophone, adding to the eccentric charm of the night. Despite the festivities, their host remained a mystery. As the evening wore on, the lights were dimmed, and Bernard took center stage, holding a candelabrum whose flickering light danced across his face. He began to recount the dark tales of the manor, tales of greed, betrayal, vengeance, and countless unsolved murders that painted the manor's ghastly history. The room fell silent. The only sound was Bernard's voice weaving the spectral tales. Once the storytelling ended, they were given the freedom to explore the manor, igniting an air of nervous excitement among the guests. The group of 5 friends decided to stick together as they ventured through the ancient house's shadowy corridors. As they wandered, Sarah's artist eyes were drawn to an old portrait. It was a painting of a woman, believed to be the first victim of the manor's bloody past. Sarah reached out to touch the painting when she felt a chilling sensation creep up her spine. She spun around, half expecting to see one of her friends, but found herself alone. Shaking it off as a trick of her nerves, she turned back to the painting, only to gasp in horror. The woman's face, once beautiful and serene, was now twisted in a ghastly expression of fear. Sarah's heart pounded as she stumbled back, racing out of the room in search of her friends. When she found her friends, she was breathless and shaking. She told them about the changing portrait, her eyes wide with terror. After a tense discussion, they agreed to return to the room. But when they arrived, the portrait had returned to its original, serene state. Feeling uneasy but determined to remain rational, they decided to resume their exploration. Charlie, ever the adventurous one, volunteered to venture alone into the infamous east wing of the manor, the epicenter of the manor's spectral tales. As minutes rolled into hours, Charlie did not return. Panic began to creep in, and the group decided to split up to cover more ground in their search. Naomi and Ethan went upstairs. Jake and Sarah took the ground floor, but soon Jake found himself alone. Sarah had vanished, and the manor seemed to grow more menacing with each passing minute. Panicked, Jake dashed upstairs to find Naomi and Ethan. His eyes wide with terror, he insisted they needed to leave immediately. Just as they began to devise a plan, the lights in the manor flickered and died, plunging them into near darkness. Then they heard a bone-chilling scream that echoed through the silent halls. It was Bernard's voice, coming from the grand hall. In the semi-darkness, they stumbled towards the grand hall. They found Bernard sprawled on the floor, clutching a silver invitation similar to theirs. There was an added line on his, "Did you witness the extraordinary?" Before they could comprehend the cryptic message, they heard heavy footsteps behind them. They turned, their hearts pounding, to find a tall figure standing ominously. The figure was wearing a grotesque mask and brandishing a gleaming knife. It was the anonymous host. The figure removed its mask, and the blood drained from their faces. It was Charlie. His eyes were shining with an unhinged, eerie glee. He confessed his macabre fascination with the manor's history, its unsolved mysteries, and its tales of terror. He wanted to be a part of that history, to orchestrate a horror of his own. His friends were merely pawns in his grand, deadly game. With Charlie's chilling revelation, terror surged through them. Naomi, using her quick wit, feigned a swoon, drawing Charlie's attention. As he approached, she landed a swift kick, sending his knife skittering away. In the ensuing chaos, Ethan tackled Charlie, and they sprinted towards the exit. They managed to reach the van, their breaths ragged, and Charlie's enraged screams echoing in their ears. As they neared the town, the flashing lights of police cars greeted them. Sarah had managed to send a distress message to her older brother before her disappearance. But the relief of escape was tainted by the realization that Sarah was still missing. Months rolled by, and the night at Old Creek Manor became a chilling memory and a morbid tale of its own. Sarah was never found, and her memory was haunted by the unsettling portrait she'd been drawn to. Their once close-knit group was splintered by the horrifying betrayal and loss. The manor continued to stand, a dark monument to its gruesome past and its enduring, haunting legacy.